video about Atlus.
Oh,
Atlus and their amazingness, how amazing Atlus is.
besides the homophobia, yeah.
Just about like the video was titled "I'm worried about Atlus" or "I'm worried about the state
Oh
of Atlus."
no.
And it was just talking about like basically the first half of the video was just them talking about how Atlus has kind of fallen into this state of like familiarity, I guess, where in the past couple years all they've done was just release another Persona, another Persona 4, another SMT4, another SMT5, like the fourth iteration of Persona 3, and just like remakes and remasters. Like they haven't really released anything like big that was new, and they were just worried that Atlus kind of has fallen into this like, into this state where they're not really trying to make anything new. But then the second half of the video was them talking about how excited they were for Metaphor and how Metaphor was like gonna be like the biggest thing Atlus can do, and like just how good of a game it
Hey, I was on it. I was on it, Applejacks.
should be.
So like, how do you feel about that?
I mean, I agree. Like, I mean, I can only agree somewhat because I gotten into Persona relatively late. So all of the remakes and remasters I didn't mind because it was basically my first time playing them. So I didn't mind it. But I can see why like long-term fans of Atlus titles can feel that way. But I also share the excitement of Metaphor.
So
because Metaphor looks really good, and I feel like it's very different. It's a very different Atlus title that they've done in the past couple of years.
So is it more so just about the systems itself, or like it's just like the overall thematic of it? Because like, despite them, because I mean I hear it. I'm just trying to kind of understand like what is specifically like the thing that is the like issue. Because like, is it because it's Persona 5, then Dancing All Night, then Strikers and Tactics, and then it's
it's just like
hang
nothing.
on to an IP so long.
New. Yeah. It's like nothing just new. Like in the past couple of years, they released Royal, 3 different spin-offs of 5.
Soul Hackers.
Soul Hackers. Soul Hackers, that's true. Well, it's Soul Hackers, yeah. They brought back Soul Hackers, which didn't really do well. They did 2 different iterations of SMT4
and SMT5
SMT5 Vengeance. So 2 different iterations of SMT5, a remake of 3. They remastered, or they brought back 4. They ported 3, 4, and 5 to like multi-plat.
Damn, that's
so
right.
It's like,
even on the DS and 3DS, they had like Digital Devil Summoner, and on the PS2, they had like Devil Survivor and
yeah, like they haven't really expanded past what they were already doing.
Do you think that's like the Persona 5 effect a bit?
I don't think necessarily it's the Persona 5 effect. I feel like it's just a matter of like, it's for better or worse. It's like if it's not broke,
Don't fix it.
Don't fix it. Yeah,
I think
they saw it was working, so they're like, hey, it could be chopped up to like one of two things. Like they see it's working, so like, hey, let's just keep doing this. It's working, obviously, or it could be chopped up to, or it can be they want to bring it to other, like, they want to expand their reach because Persona is only available on PlayStation for the longest times. So them expanding to Xbox and PC, it's like now more people can. That's why when 4 got ported to PC, it was like one of the biggest things. 4 being ported to PC and it being the price point that it was at, which was $20, was one of the biggest things they could have did. Because not only did it allow people to try Persona for the first time, but it being just $20 enabled people to try it even more because of how cheap it was. Like I think them porting forward to PC was easily like their best decision, best decision.
Could it also be that like are Persona fans Atlus fans, and is Atlus trying to reach a market more than just their Persona fans? Because I feel like the Persona thing is making them the most money at this point. That's why Joker is.
I feel like see it's very far and few between. Like you have to like ask each Persona fan. Like I feel like a lot of Persona fans. I genuinely feel like the majority of Persona fans are just fans of Persona. They don't like SMT, or they've never tried SMT. Because obviously I think Persona is what blew up like Atlus, especially with 5. Because 5 is like, no, I understand. 5 correct me if I'm wrong, is like the biggest Persona game.
This might be
Or
the last
was.
time we can
Considering,
rest.
hold on. Considering I didn't hear about Persona until 5. And I didn't even hear about 5 until Joker was added to
I've
Smash.
heard that the proprietor, Mr. Rin, but I was very.
And
I
feel like-
guess that's fair. I feel like it depends on the circles that you run in. I mean, like, because Persona 3 was really popular in PS2. I didn't hear as much about, like, 4, for example, as I did about, like, people, having experienced 3. But I would say that Persona 5 definitely is the one that got the biggest, like, blow up, like, in terms of, like, reception to Persona games in general. I do feel like 5 was the one that kind of broke the mold a little bit, because it went from being more niche to something more like widely known and accepted.
And
even
5 is
though-
also the most like newcomer friendly.
I want to look at the sales
True,
really
true.
quickly, because I think that'll kind of give us a direction of kind of how Atlus is marketing, because they're going to go towards the money, because they're a company at the end of the day.
True that. But Applejack said modern Persona fans aren't even Persona fan. Modern Persona fans are Persona 5 fans, or possibly, if you're lucky, they like P3 now due to the remake. Continued with.
Sure is.
Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. I am a modern Persona fan, because I started with 5. I started with Royal. That was my first one.
Yeah.
And I for like lack of a better term,
Once you beat Sin,
or whatever, I feel like I'm one of the rare cases where I liked 5 so much, I went backwards, and like it actually motivated me to play the rest of them. And I actually went backwards. And now, like 5 isn't even my favorite. Like I said this before, Golden is my favorite Persona game.
you are the best summoner out
And
there.
which I feel like is rare with modern,
You know?
with how Applejack is
Why
saying.
does
It's
Sin
rare
always
with
come
modern
back?
Persona fans to
So-
like a previous entry more than
Is
5.
5.
So
Yeah,
when it
that's
comes
fair.
down to it,
will
just
not
looking
go
at it,
away
Persona
until
5
we
sold
atone.
9 million copies, where Persona
How do we
4
do that?
so Persona 4 Golden sold 2.5 million, and Persona 3 R
What
sold
did we
like
do that was
over
so
a little
bad
bit
in
over
the
1
first
million.
place?
Yeah, see?
Ah,
So
Yeah.
like
was it using lots of Machina or
5
something?
easily I don't want to say put Atlus on the map,
Was that such a
but
bad thing?
it
Oh,
definitely
cutscene's
put.
a little louder than this. Okay, let me turn it down a little bit.
It's
I
funny.
don't want to say it put Atlus like up there,
since I
because
was young,
again, you
I
gotta
never
remember they started with
questioned
SMT, and Persona is
But
a
now
spawn
that
of
you ask
SMT.
me,
So you
is
can't
that
like you
bad or
can't
not?
not talk about Persona without talking about SMT, or you can't talk about Atlus
know.
and their popularity without talking about SMT.
There are so many
But
things I don't know.
I feel like in terms of the
Well,
modern
same.
gamer, Persona is kind
Such
of
thinking is
what
very unbecoming
brought
of a
Atlus's
summoner.
name to
Sound like
more
Micah?
to shine more. Again, not to shit on SMT. I like SMT. I like the I like SMT, and I
That's
like
not very
that
nice, you know.
Metaphor is going in more of an SMT route,
Yeah, most definitely.
because when Metaphor looks amazing.
The problem though is like,
I'm excited. I'm excited for Metaphor.
excited.
for
what
sure.
if Metaphor isn't received as well
You know,
as a Persona?
Because it's not like Persona.
That's
during the
Atlus's
game,
problem right now.
you
That's
have to
the
take a
dilemma
blitz
they have to
and
face.
nothing else, you know?
Because it doesn't matter how good Metaphor is, if the sales don't reflect that Persona number, then you're not going to get another title like Metaphor for a while.
you can't think that's a cute girl. And
See,
do something right.
I can get behind
And
that,
you
and
can't
that's
be
kind of
thinking
why
about where you're
people.
gonna go on that date
I don't want to say that's why people didn't like Soul Hackers 2, because Soul Hackers 2 had its own problems.
You see,
It also
Yeah.
had its own strengths
Soul
too.
thing is,
You know,
I
it
was gonna
definitely
say
100%.
Soul Hackers 2 was an experience. Like
that's when you can worry about the
if
future.
I'm choosing which of the
guess.
experiences I like, the most from Atlus, it's probably gonna be Persona.
But, Yuna,
But I
how
enjoyed
are you
Soul
supposed to be
Hackers 2.
something big
It,
like that?
especially once I,
final
got used to
summon.
the fact that it wasn't.
It wasn't Persona.
It's the
Yeah, it
only
wasn't
way to
Persona.
defeat
Like
Seck.
it had its
The
own
only
kind
way.
of charm to it,
With it,
I-
But
call the
yeah.
final heir.
Sorry, go ahead.
That's the
No,
goal of the
you
pilgrimage.
were
okay,
talking
I was just gonna read what Applejack said because he said
Oh,
it a
okay.
second ago.
The faith of
He
the
was
final
saying that
sacrifice
P4 was
waiting
stupid
far north
popular.
to greet someone to
Um,
complete their pilgrimage.
But it was an end of PS2 game. That is true. When the
Emerald's
PS3 was
Edge,
basically
in
out, and you have people who played Golden for Vita, but owning a Vita. Am I right?
I did actually own a
Ironically,
Vita. Ironically, I owned a Vita.
yeah,
I
I
just
ended up
didn't know
owning
about
one too.
Persona back then, so I'd never played it.
Look at these
Yeah,
rich,
and my
spoiled
best friend-
bastards.
My IRL best friend, Meat Filling, he had a Vita. And I'm not rich. I just I inherited the Vita from Meat when he was like, hey, I don't want this anymore. I was like, hey, I will take it. So I knew about Persona 4, and I had played Persona 4. Like I played both Golden and the original version. So like I enjoyed it. It just wasn't something that I heard a lot of people talking about, which I mean, granted, we're talking about before the internet's like really
I'll go to Xanarkand.
Wait, Breath of Fire mentioned. Breath of
As-
Fire mentioned.
Breath of Fire, we love it. But yeah, just in the circles that I was, in, I didn't hear as much talk about Persona 4. But I do think that was a good point, that it is an end of PS2 game. And in that kind of cycle when like the PS3 was, up and coming and new and everybody's excited about that, could have definitely helped it, or not helped it, but contributed to it not being as well received type
When we're
deal.
talking about PS2, PS3 era Atlas, Catherine, right? We had
Catherine,
fucking
yeah.
Digital Devil Summoner. We had
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not sure. Atlas didn't do this, Gaia. That's Nippon Ichi.
No.
Yeah, no, that was a different group.
Honestly, and like, random side note, I've been, after playing it on an emulator, like, I've been begging, we're probably not gonna get it at all, but I, like, have been begging for a DDS remake or, like, remaster.
A DDS remake would be crazy. It's so good.
It's so good.
The story is so fire.
I didn't
bro.
even finish it, like, but it's such a good game. Like, SMT fucking DDS, so good. I want that back. If they were to ever bring back any SMT, either 4, cause I heard 4 is like really good, like, and it's locked behind a 3DS.
Yeah, Apocalypse is
4
really fun.
or a DDS, one of the, like, and they both have sequels, so bring back both of them.
Okay.